Hey, welcome to the Honey and Harry Show. I'm Honey.
And I'm Harry, and it's the producer share tonight.
Yes, and tonight we have the big wedding planner. It's Events and Designs by Nancy. I'm so excited. Actually, my friend Catherine, who was on the show before, who owns Paperwhite, called me. When was that? A couple weeks ago, and she was like, she kept calling me. I was at Walmart, and I had my grandkids with me, and she just kept calling. I was like, oh my gosh, what is? So she must need something. So I answered, and she's like, I got the perfect guest. Oh my gosh, Nancy, she's awesome. So welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you.
I'm
it's
so excited.
Nice to be here.
Yeah,
I am too, and thank you, Catherine, for the connection. I appreciate it.
And Catherine, I adore her. Like, I feel like we talked on the phone for over an hour this week, and then like just talking to you just now, I'm like, no wonder she's a wedding planner. Like, I feel like she knows my whole life already. She's kind of a therapist too. So, hey, Catherine. She said hello.
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Becky.
Oh yeah. So, but anyway, so tonight we're gonna start talking about like the whole wedding plan. And she actually, like, before we start getting into that too, I want to say, which we'll get into later, she's starting her own podcast, which is incredible because I want to say that I was so naive when Lindsay got married. I wish there would have been a podcast out there because I would have hired you. What a nightmare without a wedding planner. That's all I'm saying. I was very blessed with the people that I did have, but I did not have a wedding planner. So,
yeah, I don't know how people do it today, especially like 10 years ago. Okay, maybe, but the way that the wedding industry has just blown up.
Well, not now. That was 10 years ago. Yeah,
true.
It was 10. Like, when Peanut gets married, you're hired.
Thank you.
So anyway, so let's start talking about you. So, when did you start doing this? Like, how did you get into this? Because I know we were talking a minute ago. You're a florist too.
Yes.
Okay.
So I do floral design as well. So I got started. So I had just graduated from LSU and was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be. Was Baton Rouge the place for me, and all that stuff? And I was working at Red Door Interiors at the time.
Okay.
And I was just like searching the internet for jobs, and like 2:00 in the morning, this like new job posting popped up for a bridal attendant at Nottoway Plantation in White Castle. And I was like, all right, I'll just give it a shot. Submitted my resume, and I got the position for a bridal attendant, which was just weekend work. And then within 2 months, they hired me on as the assistant catering manager in their office.
Wow.
And then just slowly started building my way up and moving up the ladder there. And I was there for about 5 years, and at that time it was kind of a new management taking over, and I decided that it was my time to jump ship and try my own thing, and if I had to go get a part-time job doing something to supplement income just to try to figure it out. But I knew I'd always wanted to be a party planner, and then working at Nottoway got me into that facet of weddings and specialized events, and then getting to meet all these amazing vendors that are in the industry really kind of propelled me into, I'm going to do my own thing. And luckily I have always had this, let me just jump without a parachute or a backup plan and somehow it'll work out.
Absolutely.
And it really has. I'm very, very blessed to have, left a stable full-time job and just really pray and hope to God that it'll be a success, and it has been. I'm very, very fortunate for all of the support that I've had from my family and my in-laws and everybody who's been around through watching this whole process.
I mean, so you just started like your own. You just said, okay. After that, So were you like the head person over there?
No, it was.
You weren't like that.
So I was when I left Nottoway, I was one of the catering managers, and then we had the other catering manager was kind of like the department head. And so it was myself and then one person above me, and then we had our general manager. But when I was leaving, there was kind of a push for a downsize in the departments anyway. And I kind of had that feeling coming, and I was like, well, I'm not going to stay for another 6 months anyway. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump ship. I'm good here. I'll figure it out. It'll be okay. But it did, and it worked out beautifully. And right after I left Nottoway, I had my first job lined up with a past client from Nottoway.
Oh, wow.
I had posted on Facebook, thank you so much for the time here and all this stuff. And then like within 24 hours, Miss Marla Medlin called me, and she was like, "My niece is getting married, and we want to hire you." And I was like, "Okay." So had my first wedding booked, and then just it snowballed from there, and build myself up, and
That's
and
crazy.
in the meantime of all of the planning, I was like, "Oh, you know what? Let me give freelance floral design a try." I had designed with a couple of people in the past, and one of my good friends' moms was a florist in Lafayette, and so I kind of got she would call it getting your hands wet in the flowers, and like trying to learn the industry and getting an idea of what that looks like. And so I worked with her for a couple of summers and on a couple of events that she was doing in Lafayette. And so I took that and was like, okay, let me try this. So I started freelance designing for the plantation florist, and then started freelance designing for a couple of other local florists, and built that up. And I was like, all right, got the planning down. Well, let me try to be a florist too.
So that's we were talking a minute ago. It's you can do the flowers for these weddings, and I hate I don't know I introduced you as a wedding planner, which she is, but she also does any type of event, right?
Yes,
Pretty
anything.
much anything. You did one of our my Merle girls. She did our baby shower for them.
Yes, baby showers, birthday parties, anniversary dinners, rehearsal dinners. I mean, if you want to celebrate, I will figure out some way to involve myself.
And it's so important to have the planners. It really is. And maybe you can tell people why it's so important, because I mean, I learned the hard. I was lucky. It was 10 years ago. It was not what's going on now. I mean, I go to weddings now and I'm like, how in the world did these people even get anything? I mean, like, it's just amazing, these weddings. But like, I guess you can tell us a little bit about that.
So, I mean, like, more power to the people who can do it on their own.
Wait, I'll tell you this real quick. I cried the day Lindsay got married, and it ruined my entire day because it rained, and I was scrambling to figure out, calling people. And I was lucky to have Chucky Lejeune, his girl, figured it out. They had it. Thank you, Jesus, it was Judy at the time. But that shouldn't have been my problem.
No, it should not have been. And that's really where a wedding planner or any type of event planner comes into play, especially if it's somebody who has the experience and the knowledge of the industry. And there's so many planners that are extremely talented, and just in Baton Rouge, not only Louisiana. There's so many.
Yeah.
But really holding your hand throughout the process, and like, you know, there's so many moving parts with a wedding, the different vendors, the different vendor types, the subcategories of what each vendor is. And, you know, it comes down to having somebody who can sit down and talk with the couple, sit down and talk with the parents, and say, okay, what's your wish list? What are the top 3 things that each of y'all want out of the wedding? And then taking those top 3s of everybody and figuring out, like, what's the most important. 90% of the time, it's the photographer and the music.
Oh, really?
And then,
That's really what it is?
Yes. And so, like, with a photographer, every photographer, again, so many talented people, but they each shoot in different styles, edit in different styles, deliver in different, like, everything is so different. So it's good to have somebody who can navigate, you know, personality types, styles, overall, like, aesthetics for the wedding. Like, what's your takeaway from your event? Like, what do you want to walk away from your event feeling, like, knowing, looking at for, you know, the rest of your life? And having somebody who knows a lot of vendors, is willing to do the research, is willing to figure out what's going to work within your budget, that's
a big one.
Yes, that should be the most important part of the wedding.
That is, but, you know, and you cut that, like, that's where I struggled with. I didn't even know where to start, and it was just, and it was hard, and I did it, but it was like, I didn't get to enjoy my daughter's wedding the way I wanted to.
And there's so many last minute things that pop up.
Oh my gosh.
Like the average person who's not doing this for a living, because this is what I do full time. I don't have another job. I don't have a backup plan. This is it. And having somebody who can say, okay, well, if the music and the band is the most important to you, what elements of a band is it? Okay, well, if those are your elements, then you need the band that might cost $10,000 to $12,000. If that's your big takeaway that you want from your event, we have to restructure the budget around that. So if that's your priority, that's where we're putting the funds. And then we're going to figure out what else we can work with. And you don't need filet mignon at your reception.
You look, can I say something about that? I never eat at the wedding hardly.
No.
I mean, I do eat a little bit, but like, if you have a good band and if you have good drinks, honey is having the time of her life.
Get alcohol and get the music, and that is all you need.
That's
literally
all I need.
Just have a couple of things that are like carb loaded and a vegetable platter, because that's an easy grab and go. Dips are an easy grab and go. And then if you have boiled shrimp, people are good.
People are good. And you know what's so crazy? I went to a wedding, and I mean, I don't know whose wedding it was. So, because I've been to like probably 30 weddings in the past 4 years, but somebody didn't have a finger sandwich. You know, I'm drinking, and I was like, I just want a finger sandwich. Like, you know, that sounds so silly.
No, but I get it.
You know, I was
do.
I need something just to put in my stomach, so I gotta go have another beer or whatever, you know.
And honestly, the people who are going to tell you if your food was good is your vendors, because that's the only time we eat. So, like, most of the time when it comes to, like, the food, like, bride and groom are going to have, like, a private dinner, hopefully. Please schedule that. You'll eat. That's great. You're not going to remember it. You're scarfing that down so you can get onto the dance floor.
Exactly.
But really, the people who will know what your food tasted like is us.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just there for the alcohol and, like,
that's true.
Maybe a quick carb load so that they can, you know, go and drink all of the whiskey and the.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, focus on your bar, not your food.
I know, and the band's such a. Oh my gosh, the band is such a huge part of it. I've been to weddings where, you know, they didn't have a good band, or like, and I shouldn't say that. Several. Well, and I shouldn't say that because
it's just not. It's and it's every band is different, and so if you have a band that is like the primo, and you've been to a wedding with them, no other band will compare.
I know,
and I have my personal favorites. I'll get into that on another day.
I know. It's true. We had, you know, who we loved. Lindsay had the Fat Hat.
Love Fat Hat.
God, they're so good. And they have
Rick
a great,
and I love
great horn section.
Phenomenal horn section. And they play the oldies. Like,
and they play the old goods. Maybe that's why I like.
Well, but see, that's the thing. Like, you have to think about what's the average age of your guest count?
Yes.
What's the average age? Because at the end of the day, if the majority of the people attending the wedding are mom and dad's friends, you need the entertainment that's going to service mom and dad's friends. You don't need a DJ that's going to be playing Back It Up in the middle of the reception.
I know that, and you know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, whatever you want is good. You know, with the DJ, whatever you get, but you don't. You're right. You don't want that. You just don't. Not at the wedding.
Right.
You know?
And honestly, most bands can play a wide variety of genres, and they can still appease the young ones, the old ones, the in betweens. Like, if you have a good band, they can do.
No, absolutely.
Anything.
And yeah, they can. And like, I know even like with they did the Fat Hats, my daughter ran track at Southeastern, Lindsay, and she was on like the 4x4 team and 800, and her wedding party danced to Back That A Up, and but they played it through a thing, which I was like, oh my gosh, we're at the old governor's mansion, and then
they're playing that,
and they're playing that, and I was like, Lindsay, is it the clean version, please? But like, it was her wedding party, it was her thing. I let them have their time, but then it went to the. Because, like, oh, God, the poor old people that were there.
Yes. Yeah. If I'm locking eyes with Granny and there is some, like, not,
you remember that, Dad?
Not great words
all right.
being
Most
said.
of the old people can't hear what they're singing anyway.
That's what I figure. They don't have the hearing aid, you know?
Well, you don't need the hearing aid when you see the bridal party.
That's
right. There is that.
They were doing it. It was terrible. But again, I had no wedding planners, so don't judge. But
like, and there's, you know what? I'm all about, like, you know.
We had a fun time.
You know, bring out the music that the young crowd wants and that, like, everyone's really going to get down to and have a great time. But, like, at the right time. You gotta wait till after the cake is cut, because once grandma gets cake, she's out. She's good.
I didn't know that.
That's why we cut the cake early at my weddings.
I like that. Do you know? I guess I'm the old lady now. Like, I've been jonesing with the cakes these lately. So I'm going to weddings, and I'm like, when are they freaking cutting the cake? Like, I'm starting to get ticked off. I'm like, okay, I sound like an old lady.
That's
like,
okay.
You know, and I want, and look, I'm going to tell you too, you got to have a good cake.
Oh, you have to have a good cake.
Yeah, and I'm sure you know that.
Oh, yes.
And you know who has the good cakes.
Oh, I know who has the best cakes.
Yeah, so that's, let me tell you, you don't get judged harder than an old lady at a wedding if you look, and I've been to weddings,
But
and
you know what? As long as you haven't passed the point of standing at the cake table waiting for me to cut the cake,
no, I'm not that person.
as long as you don't hit
maybe in
that
10
point,
years,
you're
but not,
okay.
maybe not now. I'm not there yet. But no, it's like, oh, the cake's so pretty. I just can't wait to taste it. And then, you know, then you have to taste the groom's cake because you want to taste that too. Yeah, I'm the girl that's ready for the cake.
I get that. I do, though. I
why
understand that.
What is that about
It's
even?
because you've already eaten and you want your sweets. You want your dessert. It's like, it's a normal, natural
Yeah.
little next step.
And you can't wait. And for like me and like my little friends that I'm with, I mean, we're just like, we can't wait to taste it to see if it's good.
Yeah, is it going to taste as pretty as it looks?
I know.
Or
That's
as good as it looks?
yeah, that's one. That's I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all the vendors. It's the lighting. Like I know, like I didn't even think about that though. But like there's lighting that you need to do. Like there's a million things.
So many different elements to an event. Like I mean, when I have like a client will inquire with me if we move forward with the booking process, I have a 3-page sheet for each client that goes over the details, client's information, venues for ceremony, cocktail hour, reception, time frame for all that, and then it is every vendor that we have looking at or booking, and I start filling out as we're booking, and it's an extensive list because it's not just the venue, and you're lucky if your venue does catering. If it doesn't, then you need a caterer. If your caterer does the bar, then that's great. But if they don't, then you need bar. If your venue, so many different like elements that go into it. Yeah, one-stop shops are phenomenal, but it also limits you to the rules that the one-stop shop has. Like if you go to a venue that includes catering, bar, chairs, linens, tables, all of that, that's fantastic. But you're also setting yourself at such limitations. Like if you want a fully customized wedding, you can't do that at every venue. So,
and then they start to look alike.
They do.
Like if you go to certain places, it's
copy and paste. You know those build to suit homes?
Yes.
That's what your wedding looks
cookie
like.
cutter.
Yes.
No, and I think that too. Like I've been to certain places and it's like, oh, it's the same menu, it's the same cake, it's the same everything, and it's like, I mean, that's great, you know, and I get it. It's easy. That's the easiest thing to do. But I know, like, we did ours. We did it at the old governor's mansion, but I didn't realize. I was like, oh, I just paid for the building.
Right. It's just the building. And a venue planner, let me say it again, a venue planner is not a wedding planner.
They're not.
No.
I know.
At all.
I learned it. And I was like, well,
they don't care who you have as a photographer. They don't care if your dress isn't fitting right. They don't care if some specialty item you ordered from wherever didn't come in on time.
I know, girl. I learned the hard way, and it'll never happen again. But I was blessed. Thank God, actually, took care of me during that time because I'm not typically your most organized person, and it all came together. But I was like, oh, we had to order tables, chairs, tablecloth, lighting.
Make sure you have the cushions for the chairs.
Oh, I didn't. I bet you people were talking about me. Oh my gosh!
Serve more alcohol.
Yeah, serve more. I had top shelf liquor,
but you couldn't have red wine.
Couldn't have red wine, and let me just tell you about that.
I love a no red wine wedding.
Wait, I got a complaint by one person.
Well, they can go in the parking lot and drink their red wine.
And know what? At the wedding, somebody came up to me and said, such and such is mad because they can't have red wine. I said, well, have you seen the wallpaper in here?
Go drink your whiskey and watch that wallpaper.
I was like, you cannot ruin this wallpaper. I'm like, I would die for this wallpaper in this room. I said, no, there's plenty of things to drink. I have Grey Goose. I have everything. I have all the high-end liquor that
figure it out. You'll be fine. You'll survive. Be fine. You're not going thirsty.
I know we had bottled beer. I mean, we did it. Thank God for Chucky, like I said. But yeah, I didn't want the one-stop shop because we wanted it.
You wanted it more customized and more of what the couple envisioned.
And it did. It reflected. I really think it was beautiful, and it reflected them. But oh my gosh, like you coming in with that piece of paper, people don't understand, like, what a dream come true. And just, here's the money. Bye.
Yeah. I mean, like, client after my own heart would literally just say, okay, this is how much money we have to spend. We're going to go ahead and sign it over to you. You just let us know. This is what we like. We'll show up day of.
That's me. I
Let's
mean,
go. That's the best because then it's, because I literally will like move into my clients' lives.
I love it.
And it becomes to where like my clients do become my family during the planning process
well, you're
because
spending so much time.
exactly, I'm spending so much time with them. I'm getting to know them. I'm trying to like really figure out what their personality type is, what means the most to them throughout the wedding. Like, are we just doing it for the party? Or are we doing it for, the actual deeper meaning behind a wedding?
Absolutely.
But then also like figuring out like, why did a couple choose a particular venue? Why did a couple choose, that particular time of year? Like, what is the like overall aesthetics that I can pull from
I love that
their
you asked
personal
that.
lives. Like, I have a client that I met with this week, and we're trying to come up with a cool, fun surprise for the couple that I get to decide what it is.
Oh,
So
I
we're
love
taking
that.
a chunk of the budget that is going to be reserved for like me to decide on, which no pressure at all, because
my
what
God.
if it's a disaster?
What if
Or like I totally missed the bill on it.
No.
But getting to know like, okay, things that they are unique with and like something that they just love to do, and like how do I pull that into a wedding type of something? And so that to me is so exciting, but also like a challenge, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But those are the weddings that I really enjoy because I get to take something and reflect the couple's personality. I have so many clients that I absolutely adore and love, and just there's no words to actually describe like the relationship that I have developed with them. I mean, even the Tubes, Valerie and Stevie
Yes.
Tubes, they're both of their daughters. Like, those weddings were phenomenal.
Amazing.
And it truly reflected each daughter's personalities and each daughter's like
Who they
overall
are.
designs and stuff.
Yes.
And it was so cool to be able to sit down with, Valerie, who's their mom, and to be able to like go through and like look at what her expectations are, look at what she loves, look at what each girl loved, and like building the different vendors to be able to produce the event that they had for each daughter in two completely separate, like, you could walk into one daughter's wedding and it was like nice, dark, black and white, and like really modern, and then you walk into the other and it's blush and bashful everywhere. And
was it Shelby's black and white?
Shelby's, yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah,
It was absolutely amazing.
I remember seeing those invitations when I went to Catherine's.
Stunning.
It's just so. But I mean, those girls are just, beautiful, and yeah.
It was, those are the weddings that like I'm going and I'm spending, countless hours with them. Not because we're talking about the wedding, because we were just sitting around talking. Like,
I love that.
It would be like I would be sitting at their house and like it's 5 p.m. and like I've been there for a couple hours, and then we're getting close to like dinner time. And then they're like, okay, well, do you just want to stay for dinner? And then we talk about the wedding a little bit more. And then by the time we finish talking, I'm like, it's midnight. I gotta go home. And my husband's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm wrapping up. I'm so sorry. And now I just gave out my secret, so he's gonna know that I'm not actually doing work. I'm actually just hanging out. And
but I love that because like you really, because even like talking to you, we talked on the phone for about an hour, and you truly love your clients.
I do.
You do. And it was like and so I knew some of the people that I didn't know some of the other people, but like you really, really care about your clients, and it shows.
I'm going to one of their C-sections in August.
Oh my gosh! and I think that's what's so maybe unique about you, because you really you're just so personable, and I love that. And like you saying all those things, it makes me I kind of regret not having some. I mean, even though it went well, but it would have been so great to have somebody that was really kind of looking out for you.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone kind of needs that. It's kind of like, Big Brother for the entire planning, because there's so many different things that go into planning a wedding. It's not it's not just the pretty things. It's not just the logistics of it. It's the emotions behind it too.
It's so emotional.
And so I try to explain like to potential clients who are like, oh, I don't need a wedding planner, which if you don't need a wedding planner, by all means, save the money and put it towards something else. Like, that doesn't ever hurt my feelings if someone's like, oh
absolutely.
No, we've decided to go in a different direction. That's totally fine, because if I would hate for someone to enter into a contract with me and not really want to work with me, if it feels like it's not a good fit, please, because the last thing I want is for you to look at me on your wedding day and not get along, because
Oh,
that's not going to be good for any of us.
No.
But a wedding planner is supposed to be your buffer. It's somebody who can either help you find your vendors based on the items that are on your wish list, but also if you've already booked vendors, or if you've decided that you want to book a particular vendor that wasn't somebody I recommended, if you have an issue with that vendor, or you're having communication problems, or you're having like differences of expectations, that's where a planner comes in and is like, hey, my client expressed this concern. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because a client can sometimes not understand that as a vendor, we're your employee. You have hired us for something where we work for you. And so when your emotions because emotions run high with a wedding.
Oh, yes.
And if we're not satisfying something that you're expecting of us, if it's hard for you to communicate to a vendor your expectations or your disappointments or something where you thought you were going to get, because emotions are so high that I can remove the emotions, see it from my client's perspective, see it from the vendor's perspective, and try to figure out how we meet in the middle. Because as a vendor, I know what it's like to be questioned on certain things. And as a previous bride, I know what it's like to be like, okay, wait, hold
100%.
on. I'm upset about this. I don't know how to process this. I don't know how to like navigate it. And so it's as a planner, and now this is not a day of planner. This is like a full planner. Day of planners are totally different. That's your job, is to be your buffer, to be your mediator.
No, it's great.
And to also negotiate on contracts. Like someone could come in and say, okay, this is the services that I'm offering. Okay, that's great. I offer a whole bunch of services, but that doesn't mean every client wants my cookie cutter package. They may only want 4 or 5 items out of what I offer. Fantastic. We'll do a custom package for what you're looking for, but it will stay with what you're...
But you still will be the one that does everything. And that's like when, for example, when it rained for Lindsay's wedding.
You should have already had a plan in place.
And there wasn't, because I was in charge, and it wasn't good.
Which the venue should have told you something. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, they didn't. But anyways, it worked out. Like I said, Chucky's people handled it. They got the tents. They did everything. But that's why I will never do that again. I promise you.
Yeah, it can be very stressful.
But yeah,
and that's the worst. I hate when I have to go to a client and be like, "Hey, so God is not answering my prayer right now."
I know. It's
I don't have that magic
gosh.
to just like snap my fingers and make the weather change. I wish I could.
Oh gosh, I know that's the worst.
It is,
and you can't control the weather.
But you know what? We can plan in advance to know that we live in the state of Louisiana where it is 50-50 on whether it's going to rain, but it's 100% always going to be hot, and it's 100% always going to be humid. Even when it's freezing outside, I don't care. It's hot.
It is. Like there's so that's why I want asking my daughters.
Because venues will put their heaters on when it's 60 degrees outside.
Isn't that weird?
And you will suffocate.
You will. You'll die. Oh my gosh, you'll die. You cannot do that. So my daughters had 2 questions they wanted. One of them wanted to know, I think, what's the most popular? Is June still the most popular? Because my daughter did get married in June. Is that like the most popular month now?
No. So if you look statistically across the United States, yes. But if you're looking in Louisiana, no. The most popular month in Louisiana, it's a toss-up. It's between November and March.
Okay.
Because those are the 2 months that we have the best weather, and November usually has the bye week.
Okay. So I didn't...
Before Alabama.
Yeah.
I know, but
so the bye week, whoever's getting married on the bye week, if you think you are, like, you better start booking everybody right now.
Oh my gosh. And then what was the other one? What was the most... And I mean, maybe you should... I don't know. I guess I can ask this. What's the most outlandish thing that you've ever asked for or had to do? Or
I have had someone ask me and I did not do it because I don't do birds, but I had someone ask me if I could obtain swans to put in the fountain outside of the church for when she came out the back of the aisle. She wanted swans in the fountain, and I was like,
where are you going to get swans from?
First
you don't
off,
work at the zoo.
I'm like, first off, here's the thing. I don't do birds. second off,
You don't do birds.
we're gonna have to medicate those things. So like, I don't think they're gonna be that majestic like look that
No,
you're
they're
going
mean. I
for.
think they're mean. Like, you know,
They are vicious.
They
I
are.
don't do birds. If you look, go ask Alyssa Kennedy at Paperwhite when we were doing her daughter's bridals. There was a bird at Homa's house. He was not happy, and I left the bride. I was like, "You're good. I'm going this way. Somebody else deal with that thing. I can't do it."
No way.
I don't do birds. That
That
is
is
like
so
the most
funny.
off the wall. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, "Is there a reason you want swans?" And she goes, "I just think it'd be so elegant." And I'm
Did
like,
she really?
"Do you know like bird?
Does she know anything about animals?
You want birds?"
Yeah, because you know those Canadian geese. I mean, we have those in my
Like-
neighborhood, and they are some mean
Mm.
suckers. I
I
mean,
mean, they're just gross. Like, birds are beautiful, but they're gross.
they are, and they're dirty and all those things. So like for Paperwhite, like with Catherine, do you suggest invitation places too? Is that part of your like?
So I have,
of course, I think Catherine's like the best in the whole world
well,
because
I mean,
you know,
I can't play too many favorites.
I
But yes.
I do. I mean, like she did Lindsay's wedding, and she's done so much work for me, like so much work for me with baby showers. Just even like Callie, my daughter-in-law, went into labor at 27 weeks, and she redid all of them. She's just great. Anything I needed,
Yeah.
and I just go in there, and I'm like, Catherine, I need
Oh,
this,
she'll get it taken care of.
and I just leave.
You just have
and
to like
it's-
give her a couple of words and she'll figure out a design.
Yeah,
and
her and Alyssa are great.
Oh,
I
yeah.
absolutely love them. Lindsay's invitation was just, she actually used, Lindsay and them had seersucker suits. Stop it, Catherine, you
we're
are
the best, not gonna lie.
I thought she said, see, I couldn't read. There you go. But yeah, no, she used the seersucker material that all the guys were wearing, and she made that as the liner.
I love that.
And then she hand painted the edges yellow because all the flowers were used were like daisies and sunflowers and
that.
cotton and very Old South. You know, it was beautiful. But yeah, Catherine was, and look, she was giving me ideas for the wedding too. You know, she was kind of my planner a little bit too.
Absolutely. And you'll get that. If you have a good vendor, they're going to bounce ideas off of you. If it's a photographer, if it's your baker. We've all seen so many different things. We've all seen different like ideas, and it's really that's my favorite part about working in this industry is everyone is so creative, and you could have a conversation with somebody and then 2 days later they're going to call you and say, "Hey, you remember you were talking about this client? It's not my client, but I have an idea," and they'll just like
Love it.
you know, add on to it. And it's like, wait, this is so, it's so good to have.
And yeah, it is. And Catherine's seersucker idea, and she's going to remember this material, that was a last minute thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't even, it's when she was working out of her house. And that wasn't even something that we had, she's like, you know what? I think we're going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, do it. I think it's great.
Now, sometimes I'll have ideas and I'll go into paper and I'm like, "Hey, ladies. So I know you're gonna hate me, but it's okay. We'll figure it out." And then I'll give them an idea, and they'll be a little aggravated at first, but we get it done. And then I'll just go trade hours. I'll be like, "Okay, so you know the time that I asked you to do this, and it was a pain in the butt. It's okay because I'm gonna come and stuff envelopes for you."
Okay, that's awesome though that you do that for your clients.
I do.
You see, and that's amazing. So the other thing I wanted to add before we get to your podcast, because I really want to talk a lot about that. You do floral classes.
So I've done one so far. I do want to do more. So I did a podcast at City Club of Baton Rouge in May. It was fantastic.
Okay.
Now it was technically open to only the members at City Club, but if you had somebody who was a member that would sponsor you, you could go. And I had all the flowers prepped, the containers prepped, everything was ready to go, and provided the tools needed to get the floral arrangement done, and then had one that was on display pre-assembled, and then I was assembling along with the class and instructing and giving a couple of tips and tricks throughout the class. I ideally would like to start offering a class every quarter, like seasonally.
I think that's really Cool.
Yeah.
I think you should. I want to come.
Okay.
Yeah. What are Dad? Were you going to do it at Paperwhite?
I was gonna do it
Okay,
at Paperwhite,
that's
so
what
that was
Dad
the plan.
saw. Okay.
But then it was just, with the holiday, 4th of July being, right around the time, I was doing it on the 3rd, so it was kind of tricky with the 4th being the day after. But I'm looking at hosting one in September, kind of waiting for school to get back in session and give it a little bit more time for families to get a little bit more settled. And then trying to figure out the best day of the week to do it is also kind of hard. Because I know a lot of the ladies, some men, we had 3 guys in the class at City Club. I think some of them were drugging along to it, but
those are good husbands. My husband would be like, no.
But it was like, it was pretty cool, and it's hard to try to figure out like when to do it, because I know like once the school semester starts back up, you have the after school programs and all those things where moms are running around like crazy trying to drop kids off, pick them up, all that stuff.
But it may be people like me who aren't doing that.
True.
Because like my friend Stormy right here wants to do it, and she just do Wendy. Wendy needs to do it with us too.
It.
Yeah, like
I love it.
Look, you got 3 people.
Yes,
and they'll bring Catherine. You're coming too. So, or maybe we'll do it at Catherine's.
Well, Catherine, if you let me host it there, I'll give you a deal.
Yeah, and I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah,
and
it is.
So
it is a lot of fun. Now, the hard part is trying to figure out the pricing and the size of the arrangement, because it's not cheap to be able to do it.
Yeah,
fresh flowers are so expensive, and so City Club, it was a really good deal because of where it was being hosted and what they were willing to contribute to it. But for a typical design class, it would have to be around $150.
I mean, that's not bad though.
No, because like if you ordered an arrangement,
that's what I'm
close
saying.
to $200.
Yeah, and and you know what? I'm going to tell you the flower. I've ordered flowers recently from a lot of good places, and I especially went for funerals and things. You get there and you're like, I paid for that?
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? I'm like, what? I just feel like I want to tell the people, I really didn't pay $25 for that.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's $25. And I'm embarrassed.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Because the person you're talking to on the phone for funeral work is not the person designing it.
No, it's not. And you're just pressing that button. Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm not just saying just funerals, but look, there's some people in town that are really good, and they always.
Daily florals, you have to find the right daily florist.
Yeah, so I definitely think we should do. I mean, look, my friends are like all in. The few that are watching, I know.
I love it.
That want to do that, but so I do want to talk a little bit about you having a podcast.
Yes. So it's a little nerve wracking. I've been wanting to do it for a little while now, and we've been talking with one of my vendor friends, and we were, looking at going into doing a podcast together. I don't really know what the logistics look like as actually doing it together, if it's something that it's more of a, like, I do it on my own, or if it's like I started and then just interview them or have them as a main guest that comes on. Just because it's a big commitment to do a podcast, and I want to. Yeah, it's a big commitment.
It is a big commitment.
If y'all can see the setup that's in here, it's a commitment.
It's a commitment, but I think you would. You would be dumb not to.
Yeah,
I just really think because you're just not even tipping the iceberg right now.
Oh gosh.
No, you're just not even, like, we can't even, like, I can't even ask you everything I want to ask you.
I can't even cut my skull open and just see what's going on in here.
I can't even, I just want to dive in there.
Yeah, like I think I explained it to my mom the other day. I was like, a hamster wheel, and like people are like, oh yeah, your brain's just running on a hamster wheel. I have like 6 in there, and they're all going in different directions.
That's so crazy, but it's true. And you have so much knowledge, and you have so many things. And then, what I think would be really cool that you do this, and it's going to help so many people in so many ways. And I don't know. I mean, I would have loved to have, like, we didn't have podcasts 10 years ago. We didn't have nothing like this. I didn't even know.
No, you had the Pinterest with the DIY.
That's really what we had.
Build, and then you had to read all the paperwork.
Yeah.
And then message somebody and pray that they'd get back to you to answer your question. But they didn't care.
Yeah, like we were ordering the cake top things, like the little, because her husband was a quarterback, she was a track runner, and we made these little wooden people to put on top of the cake. And we did ambrosia for the cake, but like we were hoping we were doing all this right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
how
it's a
nice.
shot in the dark half the time.
It is, but like, no, but like, you're the one person's gonna, but like, I really think this is something that's so needed. I think it will explode. I think it'll take off. I think you're so personable. I think people like you, but you need to do this. You definitely need to do this. But so I want if you're okay.
Yeah.
With saying some of the names.
Yeah,
or
absolutely. I would love opinions. I would love feedback on.
Yeah. And like, even if like people that may not be watching right now, like if you go back and somebody's watching it 3 days from now, still make comments in the comment section.
Comments, please.
But like people who are watching now, why don't you tell them the three the three names?
The first one is Altered Viewpoint, and spell it like an altar for a ceremony. And that was just kind of a spin on the different types of vendors that are involved in weddings. You have the viewpoint of every single vendor. And then the second option was Simply Unfiltered, because I definitely, like, I'm a very unfiltered person. You can tell everything that I'm feeling in a moment. I try to control my facial expressions, but it's most of the time not accomplished. So Simply Unfiltered was the second one. And then the third is That's the Plan. Because 90% of the time when Dad comes in and asks me a question about logistics on a wedding, my response is, well, that's the plan.
Look, the big thing I always tell my girls, no matter if we're going shopping, no matter if we are booking like a trip somewheres, or do not tell your father.
Oh, yeah.
You can't tell him.
The amount of separate spreadsheets I have had for Mom, myself, and Dad.
Yes.
Myself is the actual
That's
budget.
the good one. That's the one.
Mom's budget is the one that doesn't include any of the logistic things. It's just all the pretty things. And then Dad's budget is everything minus 30%.
I know, because the dads
do not watch this YouTube.
Yes, dads get crazy. You know?
Oh, come on.
Come on, Dad. Mom does things that probably you don't know either. You know, like
yeah. Well, I mean, most of the time, dads will just look at their little girl and be like, if it's really what you want, it's fine.
I cried at Honey's wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you probably were willing to dig in your pocket for an extra $5,000.
Well, Dad would have. I know my dad would, but he just likes to put up the fight for a second. But then it's
absolutely
like
every dad. There is not for this audience, but I've had a dad who is just like, you know, the stories that just come from this one dad. I absolutely adore him, but he was very much like him and hawing over the budget. But at the end of the day, on the wedding night, he's like, if you wanted $25,000 more, I would have given it to you. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Do you know how many more elements we could have had at this wedding for that amount of money?
Absolutely.
They love this. That sounds like Troy.
Here's one vote.
Yeah, they're not going to say no to their little girl.
Yeah, especially if it's their only one. Oh my gosh, it's so much. Yeah.
So here's the other question I have for you with the podcast. When are you planning on maybe getting that started so people can start looking?
I am not tech savvy, so I'm still in the research of it. But ideally, I would like to do it at the 1st of September.
Okay.
So if I could line it up in a perfect world to where I have the floral class at the beginning of September and then have my podcast not too long after that. So
Cool.
all of the people who attend the floral class,
I think that's great.
engage in the podcast. And so it's just trying to figure out, you know, the right setup, the technology behind it, all of those things. So it's a little daunting, but
it is. But I really look.
It's exciting.
And so Stormy saying between Simply and
She
Filter,
likes
and
those
That's the Plan.
two.
Yeah.
And Becky liked That's the Plan. And Catherine likes That's the Plan. So
Okay.
Yeah, so
interesting.
there's, you know, it's I like That's the Plan too. I really do I like Simply Unfiltered too, but that was probably when you said that was my favorite.
Well, it's my favorite
Just
of the
because
three.
it's so unfiltered.
It is. And there's sometimes where like it's gonna be like I'll probably get in a moment when I'm going into doing a podcast, because I get calls all the time. It's like, hey, do you have time to meet this week? Or do you have time to do this? Do you have time to do that? And I'll, you know, rework my schedule and go to a client meeting or go to a vendor meeting. And sometimes I'm coming back from a vendor meeting and I am like, what has happened? And I don't have time or the patience or the energy to fix my hair, to put on makeup, put on a cute top, do any of that.
Yeah.
Like, it will be times where I'm just going to break it all down and just like get to the bare bones and the meat of it. This is a prime example as to what not to do for a wedding or an event.
Well, you're a special person because like weddings are such an emotional time.
It is.
And people,
I cry so much.
I know, but it's emotional for that. But then it's like, it's also, you're spending a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're kind of like, you get kind of crazy, you know? So it's such a, like, I don't know how you do it because it's a hard time and people's emotions are up here, you know, all the time.
And you're not just factoring in the emotions of the wedding. It's also the personal family things going on.
Exactly.
Like, you can have somebody who's dealing with, actual, like, the couple could be dealing with something. The bride could be dealing with something. The groom could be dealing with something. An extra family member could be dealing with something. It's all of, like, life doesn't stop just because you're planning a wedding. And weddings don't stop because life happens. And so that's kind of it's a really messy,
well, life is hard
combination of things.
And it just, I feel like, I don't know why it happens. And I mean, I'm talking, God, so you can hear, but I just feel like anytime you plan a wedding,
something's bound to go wrong.
Yeah. It's just always
1,000% of the time. So I'm just always like, it's guaranteed for something to not go right.
Yes.
And if your wedding is perfect and you walked away and you don't have one negative thing to say about it, I just took one step closer to heaven.
I know. And you know what? This is what I think too. Like when just the rain thing with Lindsay, that was like, and then maybe I'm just an easier going person. I don't know, but I thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and a lot of the times it is. A lot of the times it is. You have those people who, if it does rain, and even if you have a plan, nothing will ever be right in their world. Those are the kind of clients that if you call me after and say, oh, so-and-so gave me your contact information, I'm not taking, that crazy ain't matching my crazy. So I can't sign up for that.
And I mean, you can't do that because like,
because I saw that person's reaction, and if you're coming from it of a standpoint of, oh, that's my best friend, well, I know y'all's crazy has to align in some kind of way. And that was too much for me. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and give you references.
Absolutely. And look, even when Austin got married, he had, they had a planner, but I mean, it was great. Like everything was great. And every wedding, I've been to so many different, like I literally have been to so many, and it's all because I had 3 kids and all their friends. Everybody's getting married right now. And they have been getting married for the past 10 years. I've been just going to weddings or baby showers. That's what I've been doing. Every wedding I've gone to, it's been lots of them are different, but it kind of shows who the couple is.
As it should.
As it should. And, it's, the person that goes, you don't notice if there's something
missing or wrong or
if there's not like over the top. I mean, like, look, when you go and there's over the top flowers, you do notice that.
You'll notice it, and then the comments behind it are just like I love walking into an elaborate wedding, and the people who weren't expecting it, they'll start like muttering to themselves, and I'm like,
no, look, I walked into an elaborate wedding and I was like, oh my gosh. That's like, I knew it was going to be great, but I didn't know it was going to be this good.
Yeah.
I know. And Susie, it's you. I went to 2 of the weddings that she had and I was blown out of the water.
But seeing the pictures from those. So I have to say, like, of designers, planners in this industry, August Events knows how to pull some stuff together.
Oh my gosh, like
absolutely stunning. Tiffany and Miranda are like magicians when it comes to an overall like top-down design, but then also pulling exactly what the client is looking for, which is I love it.
It was crazy.
Absolutely love it.
And I not that Peanut, you will never get those kind, so don't like get it twisted. But
unless you win the lottery,
but you'll get a good one, but not like that. I mean, that's so crazy. But yeah, like even there was a floor over the pool, and I just had to walk on it.
Yeah, just had to test it out.
Yeah, so it was pretty. So like everybody, and it was so. Allie's was so Allie, and Katie's was so Katie's, and that's what's so cool. Like you said, like for Valerie's, her daughters were
so Stephanie and so Shelby.
Yes, and it is, and that's so cool how you do that, and you know, and like Lindsay's, my daughter, it was so Lindsay. It really
Yeah.
was. And Peanuts is going to be nothing like
Right. But
like
it will
hers.
be her.
But it'll be her. And then my son's was his wife,
Mhm.
whatever because you know the boys, they just
I
show
mean,
off.
just
I'm
make
just
sure,
letting you know.
like, just make sure that they have a good snack that they like.
Oh, and make sure
Make
they're
sure
not
that they
drinking too
have-
much the night
No.
before because mine did that. He's a bad boy.
That's okay. I mean, as long as you can rally through.
He did it. Look,
No.
and they had the great time, and that's kind of what it was all about, having these great memories
Mhm.
and you know all the things. So, Dad, I wanted to ask you, and you know how we were talking about the going away.
A lot of pictures to show too.
Oh yeah, I keep
right.
forgetting about the pictures. Okay,
Pictures.
let's start showing some
Yeah.
pictures. I'm terrible. See, I
Okay.
get this is like us on the phone.
Yes. Yeah. I could literally talk to a wall. Talk to my dog every day.
So this is beautiful.
Yeah, so this was a ceremony at St. George. My team did the flowers for this as well. So we did the floral design. Dress was from I Do Bridal Couture. It was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sweet, sweet, sweet couple. This
Oh,
is
I
at
love
Homa's
that.
house. So this is the family at Homa's house. We did the candles and the flowers.
I love the
Um,
flowers.
We no longer offer candles. If you need candles, go to Truly Hot. It's a pain. They are the masters behind it all. So.
Oh wow, those are so
Um,
beautiful.
Yes, that was really pretty. This was at St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans.
Wow.
Wow.
This is such a fun couple to work with. Absolutely, like time of my life. It was super simple, nothing too glitzy or glam. Very, House of Blues was their reception.
Oh, look at that.
It was an awesome, awesome wedding. And the next picture just shows how unglitzy glammy it was. They
I
did
love it.
custom. So the reception was at House of Blues, and their last name is Batto. So they did House of Batto and
I love
did temporary tattoos. And so we were doing tattoos on everybody all night.
I love that.
It was so Molly and Jason. The entire
Really?
event was Molly and Jason. And it was so easy working with them. Like, she's very much like straightforward. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. And
She looks like a blast. She
oh,
looks like she's so
so
fun.
much fun. So much fun. We'd love to go out and drink with her. This was at Country Club of Louisiana.
so pretty.
Forage Florals, Meredith with Forage. They did all the flowers for this wedding. It was so pretty. Absolutely pretty.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
That's
so
cute.
Get Lit. They do the big
I like
LED
that.
marquee letters.
Okay.
The dance floor was from Spot On Productions. But again, this is Country Club of Louisiana.
There's so many things you can. Oh, look at those
Mhm.
flowers.
So
How
this is out
pretty.
at Nottoway for one of my clients. We did the flowers and the planning for. So then we repurposed all of the ceremony arrangements into the reception. This is them during the ceremony.
Oh wow. Okay. So all those
another-
went to the reception.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. Beautiful Kaylee.
Oh,
She's stunning.
she is.
And she has a new little girl. This is at White Oak in Baton Rouge.
That's where my
Super sweet
son's
couple.
Reception
Yes,
was. We had
yes.
to change it there actually because of COVID because they had the outside area.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, that was
COVID.
such a crazy time.
I'd love to never have to do that again.
Yeah, we're not.
This
look at
is
you,
just
I
like,
love it.
when it comes down to it, you just kind of got to do everything.
This is how it starts.
Yeah,
this
so
is what it looks like.
This is how it starts. You can see. So this is out in New Iberia.
Oh wow.
One of my absolute favorite clients. We had a phenomenal time doing this wedding. We built a 7,000 square foot structure tent. We did all of the flowers. Most of the rentals came from Element in New Orleans, and it was storming the whole week. It was disgusting.
How do you do this?
Honestly, a lot of prayer.
I know.
And like just pretend like everything's gonna be okay.
Oh wow.
So, just
Look at the
putting-
flowers. Did you do those
Mhm.
arrangements? Look how
Yes,
good.
so
oh my gosh.
I have a couple of freelance designers. Becky, who you see posting on here, she is one of my main freelance designers. She freelances for a lot of people,
Oh,
like
really?
Forage, Angela Marie, myself, Hummingbird, Floral Cottage Florist. She's an amazing floral designer, and this is one of the weddings that she helped with.
That's beautiful.
And so, yeah, this is an engagement party that I was doing for, this was back in April, I think it was. That is a 14-foot ladder, and the
Oh, wow.
fireplace is higher than the ladder.
I cannot believe that.
But
Where's
it was
that
a lot
at?
of fun. It was someone's private residence
Okay.
off of
Oh wow.
think it was Highland, maybe.
Okay.
This is at the Gilmore. Beautiful, beautiful.
I love that
bride.
dress. Just simple and beautiful.
So stunning.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh, those were some beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
So, you know how we were talking about like how they don't do really the going away outfit.
Yes.
So you need to bring that back.
So I have a couple of clients who have done like the outfit change recently.
The outfit change, but like
Yes.
the going away where she goes upstairs and comes back down just for the going away picture. Yeah, that's what my daughter did. And
so a lot of brides are doing it as like a mid-reception change.
Mid-reception
Yeah.
change. And
So-
maybe Lindsay should have done that because like she just came down with my grandmother's dress.
Mhm.
And then and nobody got to see it but towards the end when they were
Right.
leaving. But Dad, tell them what y'all had to do, which is an interesting story, what you and Mom did, and how many
Yeah.
people y'all had. And there was no wedding planners back then.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, that didn't exist unless you were like,
We had those receiving lines where the
oh god,
the bride, the bride and groom, and the parents
Mm-mm.
both sides,
Nope.
and
I
and
do
it went
not.
for like an hour and a half or two,
Mm-mm.
standing there.
Mm-mm.
It was special because you got to meet everybody who was going to be there, and there were hundreds of people there.
Dad, how many people were at y'all's wedding?
I hear a number of 600, but I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
but
it's,
now what we served was hot dogs and chili. Okay.
but 600 people to have to say hello to.
Yeah, we just people.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, our lips were worn out kissing grandmas and stuff like that, you know.
600. I'm like, Dad and Mom, was that
So-
all at the St. Christopher Hall?
No. This
Oh.
was at
I've had-
Lenfants in.
I've had several
New Orleans.
weddings that
Yeah.
have gone over the 500 mark, and
Yeah.
that's totally cool as long as I'm prepared for it.
Yeah, we let
But to
anybody
have
in that
to-
wanted to come on off the street.
But to have to like say hello to that many people,
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was
lot of
2
people,
hours
but
in the
that's
receiving line.
also just so much time taken out of like the fun.
It is. That is. Y'all
And,
didn't get to
you
have
know-
fun, Dad.
So
we had a
I
couple
have-
of mandated dances, and we got to shove cake in each other's mouth, and that's all we remember.
Yeah, that kind of breaks my heart.
I know it's sad, huh? I know it's like
So,
terrible.
It was
I've
a
been
beautiful
seeing-
wedding, though. It really was.
I've been seeing on social media the like after the bride and groom walk out of the ceremony, they wait at the back of the chairs and like tell everybody, hello at that point, but it's a little bit more of an orchestrated time that they're being able to say like hello and thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Because it is kind of a rush to get the guest count into the reception, so that way the bride and groom can start taking pictures. But to have to,
That's a lot, huh?
That's
Well,
too
and now
much.
back then, did y'all have a time limit on the plays? Probably not, huh?
I don't
you
know.
probably would have.
Probably 4 hours, I would think.
Oh, really? You did?
But
Yeah.
see, for me, I tell my clients, like, if someone wants to tell you hello, they'll come and find
They'll
you.
come find you.
And honestly, most of those people that are there, the ones that actually want to come and find you are going to be on the dance floor with you. And the ones that don't actually care, they're going to go find your mom and dad. Thank you for the invitation. Eat the food, drink the drink, and head home.
Oh yeah, and I always find like the kids that we go to the weddings, and I'm like, you gotta take a picture with honey real
Mhm.
quick.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. But my
Uh-huh.
rule of thumb is meet the couple where they're at.
That's what we do.
Because
Mhm.
at the for the reception, and a lot of parents will probably chastise me for this, but when it comes to the wedding, the bride and groom are the guest of honor.
They are.
They are not the
are.
host and hostesses.
Okay.
The couple's parents are like the mom and dad, the people who are financially fitting the bill for the event, are the host.
That's right.
It is not the couple. They are the celebrated. They are the ones who are supposed to be having a good time, being on the dance floor. And you know what? As their parents, be on the dance floor with them. Because the entire day goes by so fast, that reception goes by like that.
And I did that with both of my kids. We were on that dance
And if
floor with our
people want to
kids.
come up, I've had a mom tell me, she's like, I feel like I didn't even get to have fun because I felt like I had to go and tell everybody hello and thank you for coming. No, you spent so much on them for them to be there. You don't have, like, they will come and find you. If you see them across the room and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to go say hi, that's great. But you can go and say hi and get back to the dance floor and have fun. Make those memories with your kid. Make those
Absolutely.
memories with the couple. This is night one of the rest of their lives.
Yep.
And you know what? When the pictures come back from the photographer of everyone on the dance floor, I promise you're going to want the pictures of you with your daughter or you with your son on the dance floor more than you're going to want them with the other people who might be a fleeting moment in our lives.
Absolutely, because they won't even, because you don't even know half the people anymore
Right.
that were, and that's true. We spent a lot of time on the dance floor at Lindsay's and some with Duty, and we tried to dance with our kids as much as we could, and it's different when you have a girl.
Yeah,
Your
it's
girls.
very different.
It is different.
Sorry,
when
boys.
I know it is different when you have a girl. It's like I love being a girl mom, love being a boy mom too, but it's just different. So we spent a lot of time both time, and I think that's such good advice for mothers, because we do feel that way sometimes. I know.
Well,
I
and
felt
in the
like
South,
that. Yeah.
in the South, you feel
yes.
obligated to entertain
Yes.
and to appease and everything, and it's like, but this is the thing: you're not in your home, you're not hosting dinner, you are hosting a life moment.
I love that.
And you got to be present in it, or you're gonna miss it all.
Absolutely. And I know I did go around for a long time, and then Lindsay was like, "Mom, come have fun with us," and I was like, "I'm having fun with them." I just stopped and started having fun because I felt obligated.
And while the couple is taking pictures, absolutely, I would love for parents to start getting on the bandwagon of couples taking pictures outside during that 30 minutes. Get up on the stage and thank everybody for coming. Boom, one foul swoop.
That's such a good
Thank you
idea.
so much
I
for
love
coming.
that.
Congratulations, you made it here. Cake will be cut at this time. Let's have a good time.
Perfect.
And then you just transition right into first
then
dances.
You have to go,
yeah.
You don't have
and
to
then
do all that.
you eliminate the obligation of feeling like you have to walk around to everybody and say thank you for coming. I know 90% of the dads are not going to want to get on stage and put a microphone in their hand and do that, but you know what? It'll save you a lot of time.
It will. I mean, my husband had a good time from the minute the party started. He was like, "I spent this much money on this wedding. I'm drinking. I'm having fun." He partied from the minute he got there.
Absolutely.
So, somebody else, Stormy, I guess. What did she write down?
That's one of the owners of Truly Hot that she tagged and said that she got a shout out.
Okay, good. And then is this somebody?
Yes, so that's Becky. She's she's a freelance floral designer and one of my really good friends.
Good.
So she said, "Oh, that's so sweet.
That is sweet." But anyway, so I'm so excited that you came. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
No, and I cannot wait for your podcast. I think it's going to be great. So everybody look for her podcast. Dad, do you have anything you would like to say before we end?
I was just going to ask, how involved the men get, the grooms get, but
it depends.
I think Nancy said that, as long as you have the right food and alcohol for them, they're usually good.
Yes and no. There are a couple of grooms that are extremely involved in the wedding planning process.
Wow.
No offense to the other grooms, but I still have, there is one groom that, will forever have my heart, and it is Landon Flowers, Shelby Toose's husband. He was such a dream to work with. He was so sweet. And from the first meeting, he was there. I mean, we ended up connecting.
Really?
My younger brother was in the fraternity with him.
Oh my goodness.
At LSU, and then it just he had an opinion, and he had.
I love that.
Yeah, and
I think that's so special.
He was very and. Even when I see him, now, I'll still go to the Toops' house every now and then. And every time that he's there, she's like, "Am I still your favorite?" Yes, you are. If you need a clarification, you are.
That is so
good.
Yeah, because Diddy wouldn't have been your favorite. He just was like, I'm showing up. I'm like,
and sometimes that's amazing as well.
do
some of the
whatever
guys,
you want.
Yeah, and then you have some of those guys that just do you really think you should be getting married?
I know. Boys. What can
That's
we
a
say?
whole podcast.
What can we say about the boys? Dad,
Yeah.
I know you're in the room, but what can we say about these men and these boys?
No, a lot of them are phenomenal. The wedding that was at Country Club of Louisiana, the groom from that wedding was just he has a special place in my heart. He the things that he did throughout the wedding day, and I would love for every guy getting married to take notes on. He was so thoughtful and so just aware of all of the women involved in the wedding. He wrote letters to each of the bridesmaids, was not prompted to do it, was not asked to do it. He personally took the time to write a letter to each of the bridesmaids, thanking them for, how much support they've shown to his now wife, and things throughout their relationship and how much they mean to him. Individually, he bought flowers for her mom on the wedding day, bought flowers for her on the wedding day, and then sent a bouquet to the bridesmaids as a group.
Incredible. That's a good one.
Absolutely incredible.
Well, he's married up now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no,
But he
he
does
is.
have a lot of groomsmen that are in their early 20s.
I love that. Well,
But yeah, it was super sweet, and it just, you know, be present in it all.
no, and I agree. Duty had a great time at his wedding, and he loved it, and you know, their parents were great, and we had such a good time, and Lindsay and Ron had a great time too. So
Yeah, that's all that matters.
that's all that matters. And you're hired for Peanut. I think we're gonna get your brother and Peanut together. But
I think
anyway,
that'd be great.
Peanut's gonna kill me for saying that. But
My brother might kill me for
I know that,
bringing
but
up that
they're like, we
can.
don't even know each other, Mom.
That's okay. Sometimes that might be the best thing ever.
But anyways, well, thank you so much for being here
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you,
I
Nancy,
appreciate it.
so much.
Can't wait to see your podcast. I'm gonna be looking for it. Dad, anything else?
Well, let's see.
We have a guest.
Who do we have on next week, honey?
And we have Lindsay. Oh gosh,
Garcio.
Garcio. I don't want to say your name. I think when Emma was in preschool, I was saying her name wrong the whole time. But anyways, she is going to talk about cold capping when you go through chemo, so you don't lose your hair.
Wow.
And I
that
think
is
she's
cool.
going to talk about. We're going to promote her business doing. She does all the Disney planning for all the Disney trips and to
Oh,
make
wow,
it
cool.
easy. Yeah. So she's
Cool.
great. I love. Actually, Emma was in my the preschool class that I was at St. Andrews
Wow,
teaching.
that's
So
a while ago.
that's a long time ago. And when Lindsay went through cancer, she was watching all the things that happened and then contacted me and was like, I have breast cancer too. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it's going to be a great show. And the cold
Indeed.
capping, everybody wants to know about that because losing your hair is very traumatic.
Right. Well, thank you again, Nancy, for being on the show.
Thank you.
And thanks, everybody, for tuning in on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.